So what I'm doing today is I'm prepping my beds for next season. And how I'm doing that is a type of gardening style called lasagna gardening. And like lasagna, you make lasagna in different layers. That's what you're doing here on your garden beds. You're using different types of mulches. And these mulches, they break down over time. And as they break down, they turn your beds into usable soil that you can use to plant stuff in next season. And since me and Ashley, we won't be here during the winter months, I figured this was a great opportunity to get a head start for next season. So as the leaves fall, we collect them, we bring them out here, and we're essentially mimicking the forest in the field. And that's what we're doing with this lasagna type of gardening. Anybody can do this at home. Go out, collect some leaves, and just start throwing them on your garden beds. And over the winter, with the water and the rain and the cold weather, everything will break down. The leaves that we're putting on these beds here, they have living microorganisms on them. And those living microorganisms help in breaking down the leaves. On top of that, you've got earthworms and you've got life under the soil that assists in that process. So the bed I'm going to show you guys how to do is our winter squash bed. So you can see the squash are done for the year. They got frostbit. And so we're going to take all the squash off, and then we're going to cut all the leaves and the stems and let those break down in our lasagna beds. Some other stuff you can use, we're using grass clippings, and then we're using leaves. But you can also use sawdust, you can use wood ash, you could throw peat moss in there, you can throw seaweed, and last year we did seaweed. I just don't have time to run to the beach and grab more seaweed. The other thing that works really well is your celery pulp. So anything you juice, you'll get a pulp out of it, and that pulp is already processed, it's already broken down. So all you have to do is throw it in your lasagna beds, cover it with some leaves, and that stuff will break down quick. So I'm going to cut this stuff up, I'll take the squash off, and then I'll walk you guys through each step and how we're building our lasagna bed. So I've got my gloves on here. The next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna start pulling weeds and start pulling grass all around the beds and the base of the beds. But check this out, we got a pretty good harvest here on all these squash. Bunch of delicatas, bunch of Thelma Sanders. These I haven't tried yet, but supposedly they're pretty sweet, just like the delicata. Got some acorn squash in here, we got some butternut squash, so pretty good little haul for what was left in the beds. Alright, how's it going over here?
It's going fine.
What was going on with the other job?
The leaves?
Uh-huh.
I did a few loads and, you know, I wanted to try this other job. see what it was like.
So we're switching jobs, huh?
For now, like, you know.
Well, that's okay. Then they can see what you've been doing in the woods this whole time.
Yep.
Okay, so while Ashley is doing the weeding, I'm gonna take you guys in the woods, and we're gonna go get some leaves. We'll bring them back here, and I'll show you guys what she's been doing in the woods. Alright, so this is where we've been going and getting all our leaves. You can see it's a road, and it's covered with leaves. And what we're looking at above us here, these are red alders, okay? And so I learned the forest first, and the red alders pop up everywhere up here. And they're a nitrogen fixing tree. So you always see these red alders all over the forest. And what they do is they exchange nutrients and nitrogen through their root structure, but they also exchange it through their leaves. So the red alder brings up the nutrients and the nitrogen and brings it to the leaves, and then the leaves fall on the forest floor, and then all the trees around it benefit from those leaves. All I'm doing here is I'm taking the red alder leaves and I'm bringing them out to my field, and I'm putting them in my garden beds, and that nitrogen and all those minerals and nutrients will now go in the garden beds for next year's crop. So just get to know your area, know your land, know which trees are which and how they intermingle in the forest. Or the older the tree, the deeper the roots. The deeper the roots, the more minerals, the more nutrients, the more stuff it can pull up. And the topsoil layer is always pretty deficient, because that's the soil layer most plants take from. But if you have a deep-rooted tree, it can get down in there and pull minerals and vitamins and nutrients up. So really get to know your forest, get to know what's around you. So pretty simple, right? All I took was the leaves of the squash that were here before, and the stems, and then the grass, and then the leaves. Now this will decompose over the winter while we're gone, and when we come back, we'll have these gorgeous beds, weed-free, hopefully, right, Ashley?
Right.
Putting the work in now for the reward when we get back. And some people, instead of doing this, will use like a black sheet of plastic and leave that over their beds, and then that will prevent weeds from popping up. It'll also kill anything underneath it that you don't want there. But for this is a more natural way of doing it, taking what we have in the forest and using it to make garden beds. I mean, it's free, it doesn't cost anything, and this is something anybody can do at home. So I hope you liked this video. If you did like it, if you thought it was cool, give this video a like. If you're not subscribed already, go ahead and subscribe to our channel, and drop us some comments. Let me know how it goes for you. Alright, I'll see you on the next one. Bye.